G'day, Steve here, Woodworking Masterclass. Welcome to the workshop and a special hello to all my Patreon supporters. Thank you so much for your support, it really does make a difference. And don't forget, if you're a supporter, you can download the extended version of this video for 30 days after it's been posted onto my Patreon page as part of your rewards. So once again, thank you to all the Patreon people and a special hello to Simon, who I caught up with at the woodworking show in Brisbane the other weekend. And it was great. I enjoyed the conversation and I hope you pursue the woodworking endeavours you were talking about. All right, back onto the Marda B pencil case collection. We're now on to box number 5. Box number 4 was this one here, and it was a basic, well not basic, advanced, 4-sided box with a profiled sliding lid, nice inside, floating bottom, which was also profiled but using a hand plane. So we've got a raised panel here that's floating with a hand plane, and then the profile on here was done with a router. What I want to do now is get away from the 4-sided box like this. It had 4 separate sides, a separate top and a separate bottom. And I want to share with you the making of this style of pencil case, which is out of one solid piece of timber. And I can hear some of you say, but that top's a little bit different to the rest. That's true. I'll show you how you can use the same timber for the top or make a contrasting or complementary timber slide for the box as we go along. Now this one really takes a little bit of precision. The slide is different on this as compared to the slide we have here. What size you decide physically you want the pencil case to add up to, always add another 50mm or 2 inches. Now once you've got that, it has to be dressed, whether you do hand planes or you use a joiner and a thicknesser, it has to be dressed all round and square on each face. That is very important. Normally in the workshop when I'm building something, I'm a bit laid back, laissez-faire, and oh no, she'll be right. But with this, when we start this project, it has to be spot on, precise, because if we start off with something that's a little out of square, we can't fix it later on, just because of the process that I employ in making this particular pencil case. And in fact, making the way I'm showing you now, I made 8 different pencil cases, so I could work out what I think is the easiest to impart the knowledge to you and also the safest that you can use in the workshop and the least amount of tools required. So this one, even though it looks simple, when you look at the finished article, believe me, a lot of work went into it. All right, get this block of wood, 2 inches oversized and dressed all the way around. Once you've done that, then you'll need some other things. You'll need 4 sticks of plywood. Now, if you're going to get plywood, get a good quality plywood. And by a good quality plywood, I mean one with a lot of laminations. This is a fairly, dare I say, cheap plywood. Now, it's 10mm, and that's how easy that can break. This is a quality plywood. This is birch ply, and it's only 6mm. And as you can tell, I can't break that. So it's important you get a good quality plywood or MDF. MDF is fine, but I wouldn't go below 10mm. And make sure they are longer than the blank you're going to take your pencil case out of. You'll also need 3 wider pieces of plywood to be a little bit longer again than your blank, and just a fraction, a 1/16 of an inch or an 1/8 of an inch or a millimetre wider than what your blank is. And I've got another piece here that's just a blank for setting up and doing test cuts with. The extra tools you'll need, a Forstner bit. This one here is 50mm. You can use whatever size you like. That denotes the width of the cavity in your pencil case. Now you can use spade bits. I personally wouldn't recommend it because I don't think they're accurate enough for what we need. You could get away with a hole saw if you've got a hole saw, but we need a nice precise cutting tool that's going to give us a nice smooth radius or circumference. A marking gauge, a punch, a ruler or measuring tape of some sort, and a couple of clamps. And a router bit. Actually, the people from Promac just sent me over some router bits to try out, so we'll see how they go. And the piece that I'll be using initially is this. It's a profile cutter with a bearing up here and a straight bit. The difference with this, as opposed to the other ones that I've got, is actually on a bit of a spiral, so I'm interested to see how they work. So at the moment I can't recommend it because I haven't tried it, but once I've tried it, I'll give you my feedback on that. And that's about all we need. Oh, some glue and some patience. And we don't need the blank at the moment. And by the way, this project will be in 3 videos. The first one is I'll show you how to make the template. The second one is I'll show you how to prepare this block and we'll make the cavity on the inside. And the third one, we'll make the slide, we'll put it all together and finish it off. So it really is quite an involved one. But as I've said before in the previous videos, this one, if you can understand how to make this, it's the precursor to this one, which is the ultimate goal for me to share with you in this Marta B pencil case collection. Get the 3 wider pieces, and these should all be the same width. Find the centre of the board or the piece of ply, and then set your marking gauge to that mark. Now to double check that that is indeed the centre, from one side do a mark and then turn it around and make a mark next to it. Now there I have a discrepancy of about a mil or half a mil. So what I now do is fine tune my marking gauge to split those 2 marks. Those 2 cuts there are in exactly the same position. You know you found the centre of the board. So mark down the test piece and then the other 2 pieces. And this is where I can't stress enough. You have to be precise and exact in the setting out. What I'm actually doing now is making a template for a template. Put these 2 to one side. Now this one, mark in 20 mil or 25 mil from one end, which is this gap here, or 30, 35 mil from this end. Bring those across. Now measure half of the diameter of this Forstner bit from each of these marks. And then with a punch, put a mark exactly in that middle line where that one is. And you'll feel the punch, the pointed end of the punch should drop into that centre line. And there we have 2 holes. Now we've got to take the Forstner bit and the blank over to the drill press and drill those 2 holes out. Have a piece of sacrificial material underneath and that'll prevent tear out from the bottom. Set your bit up so it'll just touch this sacrificial piece, and then where these indentations are, this little nib in here should fit nicely into that. Bring it down, push it home so you get a positive engagement, and then turn on the drill and just drill through. Now I've got these 2 holes cut. What I want to do is put them in the bandsaw and set the fence so I just kiss the outside of that circumference. And if you look there, you can see daylight through there, and through there, but it's still held together. So it's just a question of grabbing a knife and cutting through those fibres. And you can mark on this front, rear, if you want. And with this piece you've got left, do exactly the same thing. And then cut those off there. Now we've got 4 pieces. Go through and just make sure they are really fine at the ends. So if you've got 2 that aren't perfect or aren't coming really to a taper to nothing, pick those for this first glue up. So the 2 you're least happy with, we'll use those first.